Welcome to this week's episode of Cooking with Connie. We just got back from our road trip edition, so if you haven't seen those shorts, check it out, see where we went. We were in New York City, and we did our last taping from White Plains, New York at my sister Kathy's house. Thanks a lot for hosting us. While we were in the city, we met some great people. So we met Lubna on the subway, and she is a new subscriber to Cooking with Connie. And we met Oscar. He was a bartender at the oldest bar in Manhattan. So shout out to both Oscar and Lubna. They are some of our new subscribers, and hopefully they'll see this video. So in honor of our trip, we ate at Maggie's, an Irish bar or Irish pub in Manhattan, and my sister had the shepherd's pie. So I decided I was going to recreate the shepherd's pie for my shape reclaimed people. So this is going to be a shape reclaimed recipe, and you can change it up with the different vegetables in it or whatever, but we're going to get started. So the first thing we're going to do, now remember with shape reclaimed we don't use a lot of oil, so I'm not going to put any oil in the pan. Instead I'm going to use a little bit of beef broth, because you can do that to saute your vegetables. And I'm going to be putting beef broth in this recipe anyway. So remember, when you're looking at your beef broth, you want to make sure that there's no sugar or oil added to it. So we'll get this started up. See if I can get the right burner on here. And of course I do. All right, let's try this burner. All right, and so I've got a cup of onions. So I've got my onions chopped up. They're going to go in here, and we're going to cook these up for about 5 minutes to kind of make them soft, and then we'll start adding other things to this. So we'll just put a little pause while we cook these for about 5 minutes, then we'll come back when we start adding the rest of the ingredients to it. Okay guys, so I've got 2 pounds of hamburger that I've added to those onions, and then we're going to add some really great seasonings here. So with this recipe, let's see, I've just put it all in here. I've got 4 tablespoons of parsley, a teaspoon of rosemary, or 2 teaspoons of rosemary, 2 teaspoons of thyme, just a little bit of salt, some teaspoon of black pepper, and I'm going to sprinkle that in, and we're going to cook this when we brown this hamburger, and that's going to give us a lot of flavor. So, you know, if you have issues with sodium, you don't have to put the salt in this. You're going to get a lot of flavor with those other ingredients you just added without adding that salt. The other thing is you could also look for broth, if you're watching the salt, that is low in sodium, so you can decrease the salt in this recipe. So we'll go ahead and probably take about 6 to 8 minutes to get this nice and browned up, and then we'll start adding some more stuff to it, okay? All right, guys, so our hamburger is all browned up here, and we're going to start adding the next ingredients here. So we're going to put 4 cloves of garlic, I'm not used to this, I'm going to use a barge garlic today. And then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of our coconut aminos. It's going to give us kind of a sweet flavor to it. And I will tell you, the original recipe called for Worcestershire, so this is what I'm substituting for the Worcestershire sauce. So you guys kind of know that when you run into that ingredient, that's a really good substitute there. Stir that up a little bit. So now we're going to add, we've already added a half a cup of beef whenever we did the onions. We're going to add another cup, because you're going to use a total of 2 cups of the beef broth. All right. So then what I did, I'm going to use 4 tablespoons of arrowroot. And arrowroot is much better if you put it in a liquid before. That way you don't end up with all the clumps. So what I did was I just took half of that half a cup of beef broth and put my 4 tablespoons of arrowroot in. And then this is going to kind of help us thicken up this like you were making a gravy. So arrowroot is a great substitution for cornstarch, flour, whatever, when you're trying to thicken something up. All right, so now we're going to add the rest of those vegetables. And so I kind of changed up the vegetables that you traditionally put in a but I did put green beans in there, so I chopped up some fresh green beans. I chopped up some peppers, colored peppers, and some celery, So I got all these lovely vegetables that are going to go in there. We're going to get all that mixed together. This is going to be the base, so this will be what's going to be on the bottom. And then we're going to make what I call faux potatoes. And of course, you know, with faux potatoes, we're probably going to use some rice cauliflower. So look how pretty that looks, and it smells yummy. So, and see, it's kind of thickened up, putting that arrowroot in there, so it's made kind of almost like a gravy. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set this to the side, and then we're going to start making the next layer. So we'll be right back once we get that organized. All right, we're back, and we're getting ready to do our faux potatoes. So I've already got half of them done. So I did 4 bags of 12 ounce of the rice cauliflower, and I did them in 2 separate things because I just microwaved them for 6 minutes. Now, what you want to do is you want to get you some cheesecloth, and these are really nice. You can get these on Amazon, and they're reusable. So these are a lot nicer than some of the stuff you can find out there. Then you just throw them in the washer or wash them out. So I'm going to put my cauliflower on the cheesecloth, and then we're going to just kind of, whoops, yes. And I'll show you how much water you're going to get out of this. And don't do it too dry, because we did that the first time and it didn't make it quite as creamy as we wanted to. So, but we're going to get some of this water out of here so that we don't end up with a soupy mess. So I'm just going to kind of gather that up. I'm going to put it over this bowl so you can kind of see with the water that we're going to get out of this. And you just start squeezing, and you can see you're getting quite a bit of liquid out of there, which is going to give you a much better consistency when you do the potatoes, so you're not going to get something quite as runny. All right, and then we're going to put this in. So I've got 4 bags of rice cauliflower in here and a cup of cottage cheese. So the recipe that you're going to have is going to do a 9 by 13 pan. If you're wanting to do a smaller batch, then you can just half it. Get this in here without making too much of a mess. All right. And then we're just going to whip this all up to a nice creamy consistency. Then we'll add our seasonings to it. Okay. We'll come back in just a little bit and just get our consistency. All right, guys, I have sprayed my 9 by 13 pan with a little olive oil spray. So I've got the beef in here. This is our faux potatoes, all right? And so what we did, remember we had 4 bags of rice cauliflower. We had a cup of cottage cheese. We whipped that up in the food processor to make it nice and creamy. Now, we got it a little dry, so if it gets a little too dry, you want consistency, we put 4 tablespoons of beef broth. So just add the beef broth to get the consistency you want. We put 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. We put 2 teaspoons of onion powder. We did a teaspoon of the black pepper. And then we used our favorite ranch Flavor God seasonings in here, all right? So the other thing I'm going to add to it, I'm going to add a little manchego cheese. Remember, that's the sheep cheese, and that is perfectly allowed. So I'm just going to mix that in our faux potato, and then we're going to spread that on top of the beef. Then we're going to be popping it in the oven, baking it at 375, and probably about 30-35 minutes is what it should take. Because really everything's already cooked. We're just going to heat it up to where it's nice consistency. So we're going to put that on top of here, spreading it out. So, and then Barb will be our real taste tester because she had the real thing at the Irish pub, and she'll be able to compare what she had there to this, and we'll see how close we came. All right, we'll get this popped in the oven, and we'll come back with the final product when we get done. Okay, guys, here we are. We've cooked this for 35 minutes at 375, and this is our product. Look at this, lots of veggies. Now, we use ground beef, but if you wanted to use ground turkey or ground chicken, you're more than welcome to do that, so you can make it your own. And also you can change up the vegetables to whatever shape approved vegetables. I kind of thought about maybe chopping up some asparagus and putting in it instead of the green beans, but I did green beans today. So this is our shape approved shepherd's pie. So remember to like us, share, subscribe to us. We're up to 342 subscribers, so we're on our way up. And we just thank everybody for liking and sharing and subscribing. And remember, this week, make some good choices out there. And if you want to reach out to us, we have a new email account, a Gmail account. So it's cookingwithconniegf@gmail.com. So if you want to send us recipes for us to tweak them, we'll put them on the show and we'll give you credit for them. So remember, make good choices this week.